The AMD Radeon RX 9060 XT 16 gigabytes is a graphics card designed for 1080p and 1440p gaming at a budget-friendly price. It offers excellent performance for the price, particularly at 1080p with high graphics settings. The card utilizes AMD RDNA 4 architecture and features Fidelity FX Super Resolution 4 FSR4 and AMD High PRRX for smoother gameplay. It also supports features like ray tracing and AI acceleration. Key features and performance. Price. The 16 gigabyte model typically starts around $349. Performance. Excellent. 1080p and 1440p performance, especially with FSR4 and frame generation. Architecture. Built on the RDNA 4 architecture, offering advanced ray tracing and AI capabilities. Memory. 16 gigabytes of GDDR6 memory. Technology supports AMD Smart Access memory, AI-enabled features, and PCI Express Gen 5. Display supports DisplayPort 2.1a and HDMI 2.1b for ultra-high refresh rate displays. Cooling and design. Various manufacturers offer different cooling solutions, including options like WindForce and Sapphire Nitro, plus with triple slot coolers. Some models feature RGB lighting and other aesthetic enhancements. Overall, the RX 9060 XT16 GB is a compelling option for gamers looking for a balance between performance and affordability, particularly at 1080p and 1440p resolution. wanted to discuss workloads other than gaming. And look, unfortunately, these have never really been a strong area for any AM card. I mean, in Blender cycles, the 9060XT does show a minor improvement over the 7600XT, but it still gets beaten cleanly by the 5060 key TI-8 GB and the 7700XT. It's a bit more competitive when moving into animation renderings while using the EV renderer, where it essentially matches NVIDIA's 8 GB card while beating the 7700XT. But then the wheels just fall off and handbrake. I'm not sure what it is, but the media engine in the RX 9000 series seems to have taken 3 steps backwards. Now, this might be a driver optimization thing, but given it's been months since the 9070 series launched and this still hasn't been resolved, well, there might be something fundamentally wrong on an architectural level. Moving on to video export in NLEs, and again, the 5060 Ti series has a distinct advantage here, especially with their new NVENC engine supporting native 422 video. But honestly, given the 9070's surprisingly strong performance, I expected a lot more from the 9060XT. I can say the same thing about Premiere. It just feels like AMD might have cut just a bit too much on this card to make it a viable alternative for creators against the RTX 5060 Ti series. It does get a good performance bump versus the 7600XT, though things get a bit better for the 9060XT and SolidWorks, but it's still a solid 10% behind the RTX 5060 Ti 8GB. And that's mostly because these programs don't really benefit from anything over 8GB of dedicated GPU memory. But we also have to take pricing into account. And in something like 3ds Max, the RX 9060XT does make a good case for itself in the performance per dollar category. Though honestly, if you're hell-bent on bang for buck, a used 7700 XT would probably be your best bet here. And finally, we have AI workloads. And I know a lot of people will probably shake your heads at this, but running localized training models is becoming a lot more popular these days. Anyways, with a more basic generative model of 8 billion, the 5060 Ti 8 GB doesn't have any problem staying ahead of the 9060 XT. But if you load up a larger 14 billion model, things just fall apart for that NVIDIA card. The same thing happens when running through AMD's native ROCm environment. 12 gigabytes or more is essential for those larger models. NVIDIA is still ahead when comparing GPUs with equal memory footprints. Nothing really changes when we factor a distill of DeepSeek into this equation either. While AMD is gaining ground, NVIDIA's optimizations are still miles ahead for most AI-related tasks, and you can absolutely feel that in the Procyon inference benchmark, where every single AMD GPU just gets manhandled in both the FP16 and integer tests. I mean, it isn't even close. But if you use something other than the default Windows ML environment, like we're doing here with ONNX for AMD, suddenly things improve for the 9060 XT. The numbers, they're still not the best, and yet this gives you a perfect example of how a few updates can really turn things around in AI workloads. Both of the games we've tested support FSR4 upscaling, providing excellent image quality even at 1440 for balanced settings. Additionally, they both support transformer model DLSS, which means NVIDIA also delivers great image quality. However, it's important to note that while FSR4 support is gaining momentum, NVIDIA has consistently been ahead in terms of supported games dating back to 2020. AMD often seems to be playing catch-up on features, which cannot be overlooked. Although FSR 4 is a promising first step, AMD's Project Redstone represents a commitment to matching NVIDIA's existing features. Nonetheless, it may not be sufficient because NVIDIA is unlikely to remain stagnant. It will continue to innovate. Therefore, FSR 4 support is crucial for AMD. Currently, there is a tool called Upscaling that can help integrate FSR 4 into many more games. The process is straightforward. You copy its files into the game directory, run a quick setup file, and then in-game, you can use inputs from other upscalers to enhance FSR 4. When it works, the results can be impressive. For instance, FSR 3 in Cyberpunk. 2077 produces poor image quality, but with Upscaling, the 9060XT creates a superb FSR 4 image comparable to NVIDIA's DLSS. However, this game has strong NVIDIA integration, which means the 5060 Ti still outperforms it, leading by 14 points in the city streaming test we use. In summary, achieving 1440p, balanced upscaling, and ultra settings is crucial.